Hi everyone, welcome to the last Chronicles of Planet Earth. My name is Frank DiMora, and you could read my prophecy documentary that took me close to 33 years to compile all the evidence to put in the book form since I've been involved in the ministry back in 1977. Go to my website, www.demoraministry.com, and you can load this book absolutely free with no strings attached whatsoever. I want to talk about Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 through 17, where Jesus Christ warns us that in the last days, the Antichrist, when he came, he would be able to control what everyone buys or sells. In other words, he's going to control the world economy. Now, the only way that that can happen is if there's something major that were to transpire globally to force one man to have control over the entire world economy. And we see that happening as the months go by and America's debt increases. And right now it's a little over $14 trillion and they're never going to pay it off. So we see that the world leaders are talking about getting rid of the dollar, actually dumping the dollar, and talking more about this one world global economy or one world currency. And these are the footsteps that are leading up to the Antichrist in his reign. Now, a lot of you might be wondering why I'm smiling, is because we know that when the Antichrist comes, that obviously will be during the 7-year tribulation period. And for the believers who understand what God has shown us in Scripture, the Christians are not appointed to the wrath of God, and we will not be partaking of those events that take place or transpire during the 7-year tribulation. Jesus emphatically told us to pray in Luke 21:36. It says, "Pray, watch and pray always, that you be accounted worthy to escape all the things that are coming to pass and to stand before the Son of Man." So he didn't say escape some of them, he said escape all of it. So in my daily prayers, I always pray that, Lord, count me worthy that I may escape all these things. Now, the Antichrist is coming. We see the footsteps to bring this one world global currency, which will be another step before the Antichrist actually forces people to take the mark in their right hand or in their forehead, as it states in Revelation 13:16 through 17. Now today I had, before I go there, when you read my book in chapter 1 of my book, I'll outline all the details for you. That is the newest edition of my book is of this month. So please go there and check that out. But right now there's an article that's called the New IMF, which is the initials for International Monetary Fund. It says the new IMF strategy document charts launch of a Bancor global currency. A newly published IMF strategy document calls the implementation of a global currency called the Bancor to stabilize the national or international monetary system, while acknowledging that only a monumental shift towards acceptance of globalism will make it possible in the short term. The IMF blueprint, authorized by Raz Moghedam, director of the IMF Strategy Policy and Review Department, has stayed under the radar for 3 months. However, an article on the Financial Times, the blog, and it's entitled IMF Blueprint for Global Currency, Yes Really, this is, as a matter of fact, that's how it's written, yes really, today highlights the document and the clear strategy for a global financial body. Now I took this document and I wanted to really look at this document. This is what it looks like, because this came from Alex Jones, and I checked every source. I went directly to the source that they were quoting from, and I pulled it up, and I have the document right here. It's called you see it right there, the International Monetary Fund. Now on page 26 and 27 of this document, let me turn to there, it tells you what their strategy is for, and when you read that, and I posted the pictures of it below so that you could see it for yourself. So if you're at YouTube, go to my website, and right below the video that you're watching, you're going to see all the photos that I put there so that you can see this information. Or you could do what I did to make sure you can download the entire document from the IMF. Because what they're saying is essentially that they want to go in increments, in steps, to finally bring about a one world currency. This is the direction that they're going in. Now, in this document, you'll see a picture like this. This is right from the document. See if I can get it there. Now, when you see that document, please scroll down from this video and look at the one in the right-hand corner, because that document says the finality of it will be a global currency. This is the direction that they're going in. Now, this doesn't come as a surprise to me, because I've been telling people since 1977 that this was going to happen. And it is happening. World leaders are pushing for this global currency. And when you read the information, they tell you in there why they're pushing for it. And there's instability with the American dollar. And they know what's going to happen. They know that the dollar is going to crash. And they're making inroads for when that happens to go into this world currency that will eventually pass into the hands of the Antichrist, who will have the methodology or the technology to mark everybody in the right hand or the forehead. Now, there's some other news that Alex Jones quoted that I also went to. For example, the Washington Post. A bigger, bolder role is imagined for the IMF. And in the first paragraph here, it says, inside our carnivorous assembly hall in downtown Washington, dignitaries gather twice a year for routine meetings of the International Monetary Fund. Before long, though, the room could take center stage in the IMF's transformation into a veritable United Nations for a global economy. There's one. And then there's another article telling us about this global economy and this global currency that they're pushing. Here's another one with the another president, a world president, pushing for a global currency. And they really wanted to name this currency. When you see it, the Bancor, you'll see all these, the links to these articles when you get to when you scroll down after you get to my site. But so you see the Czech presidents, you see the president that they just installed in 2009 from the European Union, pushing for a global economy. All this information is in my book. But what's so important about this is that we're getting really close to the rapture of the church. When we see that more world leaders are talking about this global currency and this one world government, you know that the Antichrist, according to what Jesus told us, is coming. And before he comes, we see all these prophecies taking place all at the same time. But before he comes, we know that according to what the Lord showed us, we're going to be gone. The church is going to be gone. If you read Revelation, you'll notice that in chapter 4, verse 1, it says, "Come up hither and I'll show you what may take place hereafter." And Jesus was showing John what was going to take place after the church had left during the tribulation. You won't find the church being mentioned again through the whole entire book of Revelation until chapter 19, when you see them coming back. And the reason why they're not mentioned is because they're in heaven with God for 7 years. And at the end of the 7 years is when the Lord comes back with the church, and he puts the end to the reign of the Antichrist, who's actually an incarnate of Satan himself. So these things are happening, not just this global push for the currency, but all the prophecies are taking place at the same time. And this is exactly what Jesus Christ said was going to happen to that specific generation who would see him come back. Listen to what he says to the churches.